So in this video, we're picking up with from our cliffhanger at the end of the previous video. What was that cliffhanger? Well, I'd said we have this sentence, if he kisses her nicely, she will marry him. And I said, well, we can symbolize that as follows. He kisses her nicely, arrow, she will marry him. Where he kisses her nicely is the antecedent because it's the if part, and so it goes before the arrow. And she will marry him is the consequent. It goes after the arrow. And I said, this is incomplete, but I didn't say why. And so I'm going to talk about why that is incomplete, an incomplete symbolization in this video. So let's remember what's going on in the airport. You are sitting there minding your own business, and you hear a couple talking, and the woman says to the man in the couple, if you kiss me nicely, I'll marry you. And you go, well, that's interesting. And you turn around, and he leans over and kisses her nicely, and you see that apparently happen, and you can conclude, aha, she will marry him. And we said that this is a valid argument. Whether or not the premises are true, if they're true, no matter what, in any situation in which they're true, the conclusion is also true. There's no situation, no possible way that the premises could be true and the conclusion could be false. Okay, so now, but, this little scenario ends, and you're still in the airport, and you see another couple walk by, and they don't look like they're having a great time, and they sit down, and eventually you're sort of bored, and you hear the woman say to the man, if you don't confess, I'm leaving you. And you think to yourself, if she doesn't confess, she'll leave him. If he doesn't confess, she will leave him. And he turns away from her and opens up his newspaper, and, well, he's not confessing. And you conclude she's going to leave him. And you have a new argument. And this argument, too, is valid. Maybe the premises are true, maybe they're false, they certainly seem true, maybe they're false, but if they are true, no matter what, in any situation in which those premises are true, the conclusion is also true. No, there's no situation in which the premises are true and the conclusion is false. And not only that, but we think, so we have two valid arguments, but they seem like they're kind of the same, and we want to capture that sameness in our symbolization. So in what way are they the same? Well, note that in the first argument, there are two pieces that are the same. The second premise is he kissed her nicely, and that's the same thing as the antecedent of the first premise. And there's another way. So we want to say that both of those arguments were valid, and we want to say that they're valid because they have the same form. And we can be pretty precise about what that form is. What is that form? Well, so in both cases, one premise is a conditional. Antecedent, arrow, consequent. And in both cases, the other premise is the antecedent of the conditional. So we have a conditional and then the antecedent of that conditional is premises. And in both cases, the conclusion is the consequent of the conditional. So in both cases, we have this same form. If antecedent, then consequent, antecedent, therefore consequent. It doesn't matter what the particular sentences are as long as they fit this pattern. The antecedent and the second premise match, and the consequent and the conclusion match. If we have those matchings, the argument is valid. No matter what, if the premises of an argument like that are true, so is the conclusion. So we don't actually care what the particular pieces, what the particular subject matter of the argument is for it to be valid, at least for those arguments like that to be valid. So remember that our goal, we're interested in studying validity. And what we just saw is that sometimes the validity of an argument doesn't depend upon the particular subject matter of the sentence. It has to do with the form of the sentence. And that's the kind of validity that we're interested in. And so when we symbolize a sentence of English or any other natural language, we're translating that sentence into our new symbolic language. And why are we doing that? To help us study validity. So our translation needs to capture the parts of the English that are relevant to the validity. But we also want to ignore the parts that aren't relevant to the validity. We don't want to worry about capturing them in our translation. And what we just saw is that, at least for some valid arguments, the particular subject matter doesn't matter for the validity of the argument. And so we're not going to worry about capturing those particular components. So what does that mean for how our symbolizations work? It means this. We'll find out in the next video.